Vicky, why don't we start with anything that you have? We'll let that start first, then I'll ask that important question.
Okay. Right now, I'm going to work on an email today and I'll send out to everybody that it'll have a little more defined agenda, and it will also have information, more detailed information on the Defense Innovation Forum event Thursday. And in that, there will be a link that you'll need to use to register for the event on Thursday if you plan on attending. And this will all be outlined in that email to you. I'm going to send it to everybody, knowing that some we still have not heard from the Tech Scouts as far as their pitch status, but I want to make sure everyone has the information. So I'm just going to get that info out to everyone, hopefully today. Again, this information is also on the website, along with the hotel information, and that'll be in the email again. It'll be a little bit of a duplicate of before, but I just want to make sure everyone has the info. It's coming up 2 weeks away, documents, lot that still need to be done and worked on. So please be looking through your OneDrive folder and getting those done, working with your tech coach. If you have any questions or run into issues, let me know. And I think that's it for now for me, Alan.
Okay. See if I can find you guys. There we go. We've got people. All right, so the first thing I'm going to ask is kind of a class participation thing. I need to know how many of you are new in that you haven't seen any of our videos or haven't been with us live for from the quad chart, the overview, the quad chart information paper, and pitch deck. Are any of you in that category? Or if you're new and you haven't seen any of those, could you raise your yellow golden hand, whatever that is? None? All right, so everyone's good to go. All right, we wanted to make sure that we've got everyone caught up to date with what's going on with the program. We have finished, or I'm almost finished.
Hey, Alan.
Yeah.
Just for
Yeah,
your,
Bill.
I think Glenn Robinson had his hand up, so.
Oh, Glenn, where are you? Oh, there you are, Glenn.
Actually,
Hi, Glenn.
I did raise my hand.
Okay.
Notes.
What's that?
I may have moved my hand when I'm taking notes.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
No problem.
Okay. You got to watch Bill. He'll catch you. So, what was I saying now? I just forgotten. Sometimes I'm kind of like that do loop, you know, sometimes I just get caught in one. The capability matrix. We've got the capability matrix almost completely done. We've got to double check those that have said tech transfer only. So once we've moved everyone from our database to the capability matrix. So we got to go back and make sure if anyone has said tech transfer only. We usually get one or two per process that want to not be included. So we'll be getting that done. That will be going out to you, and I think next do we have on the schedule for Rick for capability matrix?
No, we did that. We did the capability matchmaking stuff a week or so ago.
Okay. Well, what we'll do,
we can do something on a capability matrix,
Well, we just, once we share it with them and everybody sees it, I can show it today, but you won't have it with you. So you'll just be seeing my screen. And I think once you have it in hand, it'll help. The idea behind it is we don't give you everything that you've signed up and you've given information to us. Everything you give us has a purpose. We don't ask you stuff just to ask it, just so where you spend time writing it and nobody read it. We have information that goes into your capability statement, capability matrix. We have stuff that goes into the poster board, and then everything else that goes into for your quad chart information paper and pitch deck. So the idea is to have that information where we can put it in the different documents. And as Vicky's stating, trying to get everyone to make sure you're up to date and complete. I get affected by everything that happens on a daily basis. I don't know if you do, but things that are happening, information we're hearing. Our program is an evolving innovation transfer type program where as things improve or things change, we try to pivot for that. This year, we've been very open. We're always open, but we've been very open in telling you that we are working on two parts that we've not done in the past. Number one, what the Tech Scouts have requested of us, the late stage, and we've quoted them, late stage, business ready, heavy hitters. Those are the three terms they used. We have been working as we work with our SBDC folks and they do the outreach for you. We've been working and getting your information in and then getting it ready with you. Then the next part was that we had Rick and Fernando and then Tim Fowler on the video shorts. And so that became a part of, a part of our process. So some of you, or out of our entire group, we now have more applicants and video shorts than we have positions because they've told us they only want 20 minimum, 30 maximum. So that's the range. Now, I mean, if we ended up with 18, that'd be fine, but that was their range, the 20 to 30. So I know some of you will not be selected, not necessarily you on this call, but between here and Tuesday, if we added everyone up and it was 35 or 40, some of you will not be selected. I have tried saying this, and I've said this, I think I said this Tuesday. I'm going to say it again. If you've applied, by the time you get the feedback from us to your tech coach to you, you will have already gotten basically what has happened in the last 8 years of encountering innovation. And I think that is a big improvement. If all of you took this information and did not come, you will have basically gotten the information the Tech Scouts have recommended to you. Now, some of you go, well, I'm not coming then. I'm good to go. Well, today's program is a repeat of Tuesday, and that is, what do you do post-conference? And what I'm here to tell you is that what you're receiving from the Tech Scouts, and we're waiting, they've got about 18 in their video shorts links to review. 2 of the Tech Scouts have gotten a portion of that done. The other 2, I know, are at the post conference in Hawaii. And Indo-PACOM wrote us and said, I'll get it done Saturday on her PTO, I guess as you'd say, her personal time off. She's going to catch up. But she's working the post in Hawaii for Indo-PACOM. So she can't get to it. Anyway, point being that this information is going to get to you as quickly as we can. We're going to be meeting, Vicky, when do we meet with our EI folks? For
Well,
those that
I
we-
sent an email out yesterday, hopefully tomorrow. I haven't
Okay.
heard from anyone yet, so
Okay,
I'd say
well,
today or tomorrow.
so hopefully Bill and Rick, who are on, can meet with us. We've got a few that we've gotten partial information from 2 of the Tech Scouts. I want to get those reviewed with our team and see if it's enough information to pass their choices on to some of you. There's, I think, 3 or 4 or 5. I'm not sure exactly. I don't have it in front of me, but we want to get that to you as quickly as we can. Having said that, what we're talking about then is what are your actions for the post conference? And what I did on Tuesday, and I'm back to saying, is if you got nothing but what was given to you, then you've done pretty much what you've done in what we've done in the past. What is different this time is what you're about to do in this year's conference in person to person in that pitch. We will have Tech Scouts that are virtual, and we will have Tech Scouts that'll be there in person. I have some key picks that I hope will be there virtually because I don't expect they'll be there in person. It's too costly, not just a cost of expenses to get there. It's too costly for them to travel that far to be there when they can virtually show up. So there's some like that I hope will be there. A lot of them that aren't there that we want to be there use someone else to refer information to them. And that is one of the biggest jobs the IACs have, the folks that we work with the closest, the most often. They take this information that you've given them and they pass it on to someone else, or they refer you to someone else, or they refer you to some other organization. I've said it in the past. The one that started this program, Brett Sheringhausen, who has passed now 2.5 years now. If you really wanted to irritate him, take his recommendations and set them on your desk and do nothing with them. That's about the fastest way to irritate him that I saw. People talk about poking the bear. That was about as good as poking the bear for Brett Sheringhausen. So my statement or encouragement to you is if you really want the post-conference activities to work for you, you need to do something with the information you are either already have been given or you're about to be given. And that is, and I'm talking to you guys sideways, aren't I? And I should be looking more at you. I just realized I've got you on the other screen. My apologies. So what I'm really saying to you is the first thing is you're being given information that the last 8 conference participants have not been given. And that is you will have already been given a full review, hopefully, by all 4 of these Tech Scouts. Right now, the first 12 that have been accepted have been given that information. Correct, Vicky?
Yes.
Okay. So I just making sure you were paying attention. So for the rest of you, I just realized, I thought that's scary. If she'd have said that to me, I'd have been going, what? So for the rest of you, you're going to be given information that we haven't done yet because we've only got part of it. So we're going to try to make an assessment to at least alert you, those that we can, to go ahead and get you ready. We wish we could have gotten them all done. Unfortunately, we didn't get them to them in time before the post. So that's one of those timing things that really knocks them out. What I need you to do then is take these comments and look at them seriously. And I want you to do your best to take the comments and try to decide if we give you the information, if we have it, where we share with you which COCOM, combatant command, scored you the highest priority, then you need to take that. I would recommend that you take that and you deep dive that combatant command. If you need help, reach out to your tech coaches. Hopefully they can help you some. None of us are an expert that I know of, including Bill. I think the closest one that's not on this call would probably be Michael Upton. I'm supposing he would be the closest to a full expert across the board with all the combatant commands. Even he wouldn't have all the specifics. That's what the tech scouts are for. So if you do your research and choose one entity to do the most research based on your recommendations from the tech scouts, then what you do is when you show up at this conference, you will show up more different, more prepared than all of our innovators from the last 8 years, because you have been given something. If you do that, then I believe you will change the collaboration in the pitch room. That's what's so important. You've already been given what we've gotten the last 8 years. What hasn't happened is if you don't participate, the tech scouts probably won't move forward on moving your information forward because you vacated. That's not a punishment. That's just because they only have so much time, and the people that are in front of them, that out of sight, out of mind thing, they will remember those that are in front of them. So when you come to this conference, in order for the post-conference activity to work for you, I need you to come as a subject matter expert to your target customer. That's a big ask, okay? But the more you come closer to knowing the information and the customer you're targeting based on the research you've done, the better the collaboration can happen between you and the tech scouts. Now, Bill has seen, we have participated in conferences with our tech scouts where one person does not create a collaboration. Maybe you talk to yourself like I do, but the collaboration's kind of difficult, isn't it? You try to come up with stuff and they talk about thinking outside the box. But when there's two of you, there's a much better chance of collaborating. If you're more of an expert in that field, in that combatant command, as fresh as it is, you have a better chance that if someone's in the pitch room with you, that's a combatant command representative, you've got a better chance of creating some kind of thought out of the box activity with them than if no one else in the room is a subject matter expert in that field. If your tech scout is tired, it's after lunch, they're not feeling good, they had a long flight, they're human beings, right? So we try to make sure to inform you to remember that. By studying, you basically have shown them that what they've recommended was important. And we talked about that the other day on prepping for the pitch. Well, I'm back to that because what I'm trying to say is they're post recommendations that you're going to act upon. The more you can prime the pump in that pitch room, the better your chances of having activities for post. So you got to come prepared. And I know you're busy. Everyone's creating a revenue stream in your business or at your job. And it's a tough ask, but it's important that you do that, go the extra mile and getting that done, going into that pitch room. Now, with that in mind, then what happens on the post side? Our tech scouts are going to give us recommendations in the room, and our scribes are taking that information and they're writing it down as best they can. We're trying to get the highlights of what's the most important. That information is going to go to you in the red room. Immediately after the pitch, you're going to walk into the red room and work on that. That list of recommendations or referrals are the beginning of your exercise. What happens is you're going to be referred in most cases based on the work we've done and the priorities they've given us. We will have a slate of pitches that all hit some priority. We've never done that before. We've come close on our own, but we've never done that because we've never given this information to the tech scouts ahead of time. So you have already been that are coming. If you're going to be pitching, you've already been selected because of that priority. Okay. So what we need you to do then is take those scribe notes and all the information you're gathering during the conference and start that exercise of reaching out to these people. Some of these people that you reach out to are the recommendations. It may happen very quickly and you're connected and they pulled you forward. Others, you're going to reach out to them and you get no response. Well, you're going to have to wait a week or so. You're going to have to try again. And you're going to have to call. You're going to have to email, right? You're going to have to do things. The challenge is you're going to have to try to stay in between being irritable or irritating and assertive, right? If you can be assertive, and that's a tough call, but your job is to try to get to that person. When you do get to them, they may or may not be the ones that are going to help you exactly in your next step. If they're not, then they need to be part of your help by saying, okay, well, Rick Slater recommended I contact you because of this. You got to do your best to connect with the key, whatever that information was that they said. And then if they're not the right person, then who is their best recommendation? So your job then is to try your best to find who your next best step is with them. What I can't tell you is what we don't know because we've never been here with a group of innovators like yourselves who've been reviewed by the Tech Scouts already and who have been selected in a high priority. They're telling us this is supposed to be more of a contracting type of conference. That doesn't mean anyone will walk away with a contract in their hands. They're not coming like that. There's been some like that in the past where they've done that. That's not the case. But they want it to be closer to contracting where the steps from you to a contract, the steps from you to assistance are shorter and closer in time. We hope that to be the case as well. That's what you've got to do. And if that, I hope that doesn't freak you out, but I hope it also, you realize the value you're already being given. And if you take that, then you're going to change the conversation in the pitch room. And we'll get to be a witness to that.
I have a quick
All right.
question.
Yes.
Hey, so it makes sense that we're on this trajectory and it's being fast tracked. And this is the first time for that. But what hasn't been clear is, maybe until you just said what you said, is why. So I've done some research and I know that you guys are releasing like an MVP for a system that makes things just more efficient. I assumed maybe that was part of the reason. But it sounds like maybe there's more to it than that for the reason for fast tracking us, which I think everybody could appreciate. Fast tracking through the government system, that's great. But could you give me a little bit more insight from my user experience going through this process as to why the change and why now? And did you say this group of people or innovators were any different, and that brings us closer to a contract? Can you elaborate more on this?
I'm going to have to apologize. I didn't get some of that information. I'm not sure exactly it just, I couldn't hear you well enough to understand some of what you were saying. You want me to elaborate on something? I'm just not quite sure what.
I'm on my headphones. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, there we go. That's great.
Okay, sorry about that.
No
So
problem.
it makes sense that we're on this trajectory that's being fast tracked. So I've gathered from attending the training sessions. What is not clear is why is it being fast tracked? I guess I assumed that because Encountering Innovation is releasing an MVP to make the processes more efficient. But that doesn't release till the summertime. I assumed maybe this fast tracking was a part of that. But it sounds, based off what you just said, that maybe this group of innovators were the first to come through something. Did you say that you feel like we're more high priority, or what is the purpose for the fast tracking in this group particularly?
Okay, great question. All right, so basically, we are the last. Encountering Innovation is the last of what I call the wildcat events. There were several of these that started up. Brett Sheringhausen started pretty much this entire process. As far as I know, he was the person to do that. If you haven't met him, I will tell you, he was an exceptional individual. And I mean, not only his passion and his care for the warfighter and for the individual innovators, the small businesses, he was extremely well prepared. He was intelligent, and his processes, as far as I know, beat everybody. He was his own artificial intelligence. What he was able to put out, he truly overwhelmed a lot of people with his ability to take all of these and move them forward where he needed to. Now, he didn't get it done Monday after the conference. It took him weeks, and he had a team of people working with him, but he got stuff out to others. I told his wife when he passed away, I did tell her, I said, you know, I think we all like to think that we take our foot out of the stream and we leave a void, right? I said, I really believe Brett did. Brett has still left a void in what we do, and we're trying to catch up with that. Having said that, so from the past of being a wildcat event, we're no longer a wildcat event. We are supported now by by DIU through the On-Ramp Hub program. What we aren't is we're not a completely known commodity across all of DIU, and DIU is not a completely known commodity to us. We do not know all the different ways you can be helped. People say they talk about the government. They talk about the DoD. There is no such thing as the government. There's no such thing as the DoD. That's too big of an organism to call it that, to talk about the DoD in that way. There are a lot of individuals in different positions making up a lot of programs across DoD. There's a lot of money being spent on just innovation. That is exactly why we joined this process and tried it, because we were trying to help tech commercialization, and we realized about $85 billion is being spent annually in tech commercialization, in clarification, experimenting, prototyping to get a product or innovation to the field. We believe your fast track is best hooked to the Tech Scouts, because the Tech Scouts are shopping for capability gap needs. So this entire program is primarily focused on the combatant command Tech Scouts. The ones that cross all the combatant commands are the IACs. What I'm learning is that the IACs that we work with don't actually know all of the technologies that come across our field of reference. So as we come forward, we're trying to pay attention, especially this year with this cohort of people. We're trying to pay attention to what they can move forward, what they understand, and what they can actually help you with versus giving you answers that we've heard over and over. They're trying to tell us that there are certain technologies that we are giving you now to give back to your innovators in that 3-minute video pitch, that there's no more gunpowder. We have nothing else to give them. So as we learn that, then we're going to try our best to share with those that saying coming to the conference to the pitch is probably not, the pitch will not improve your information. We want to be honest with you. That doesn't mean that you
Okay.
shouldn't come,
All right.
because there's still a lot of information left in your program, in your conference, that goes beyond the pitch, right? You've got networking. You've got I highly recommend everyone attending the Thursday conference. Thursday, you're going to meet people we've never met. We are excited to think that the people that are funding our program are going to be there. We know they know about our Encountering Innovation because we've been given quotes in some of the meetings that they've said about us. So we're very excited about that, because if they know what we are and what we do, then you, the innovator, represent our product. Your innovation is, and your transition of your technology represents you and your ability and capabilities. All of you represent our ability and our capabilities. So what you have now is a tech scout that believes, if they believe that your innovation should fit a capability gap, you have a shopper, if you will, that says that this is a answer. Is it the only answer? That tech scout can tell you that. They may not know. There are certain technologies that we're getting feedback over the years that technology, that particular track is full of a lot of innovators, a lot of innovations. So when you come, we know to say what we say to everybody, and that is, what is your capability? What is your unique part of your innovation that sets you apart from everyone else? And then if you're in one where there's a lot of innovation, we're going to tell you, I can't tell you if your innovation is unique or not, or your capability, that your benefit, the thing that you say sets you apart. We don't know that, because there's a lot in there. So we are going to try to forewarn you in that case. But to you and all of you, yes, you are in a new position with us because we've changed our process. The tech scouts never saw you before. Before this program, they saw you for the first time at the conference. And we had about 60 or 70, depending on the year, and as low as about 50. So we ranged from 50 to 70 before. They've told us that's overwhelming. That's too much information for them. And so they've said, we need you to pare it down to 20 to 30. And then they said, and then we want you to make them later TRL, because the later TRL, the closer they are to the warfighter, to being able to help the warfighter. The closer you come, the quicker you can come to helping the warfighter, and the more it matches a capability need, the more they believe that your capability need may be the one that can help them. Now, does that give you a good answer?
I believe so. I mean, it explained definitely the process. I think my question was more around why fast track things now?
They've been shopping. Brett Sheringhausen was shopping for technologies long before this was ever a thing. He actually, when I first met him, he told me that he met a girl. This was something he used to do. He would get a letter written to him, or it would eventually come to CENTCOM, Central Command, And he would take that information and he would phone them, reach out to them. And at some point, if he believed there was enough information and at a big enough need, he would go see them. He'd go meet them someplace at their home. And his story, his first story to me was he met a 10-year-old girl and he went to her house and her and her grandfather were there. And she sits down at the kitchen table and she says, I've been learning, our class has been learning about copper helps coagulate the human blood faster. Okay, Papa, it's your turn. He goes to cut his left arm and his right arm and a regular Band-Aid on his left arm and her innovation on his right arm. His blood coagulated fast enough on his right arm that it impressed Brett. And he tells me, long story short, so there's all of this work and more in that long story short. She's now a multimillionaire. That's what he told me. Well, that's a lot of work for one person to go out after they've written them and they eventually see them. So he asked me, if you really want to increase or improve your tech commercialization program, put together a large number of innovators and train them. He said, I'll give you access to what we're doing. I got to go to Brooklyn, New York, and then Bill and I had been to Huntsville, Alabama. So we've seen enough of this process to where we improved it. And what we did, first of all, is we realized people should not come to this to speak to the Tech Scouts untrained. It's not fair to you because your innovation needs to be offered to them where they truly focus on the innovation and what it can do for them. And so he gave us those processes. Why? Because that's their full-time job is to shop for innovation that can fulfill their need. They're spending so much money, they should spend it on the best innovations. They don't know about you until they know about you. As Brett has been famous to say, we don't know what we don't know. And so that's why they're doing that. Is it a program across the country? No, it is not. What we're doing is unique because we're pulling it through the SBDCs. You're helping us. This is like 1981 or 1982 when the SBDCs became a national program. At first, the SBDC was local in a few places. And then from that local success, it became a nationwide program. You're just part of the benefit of being in the region where your SBDC folks most likely referred you to this program. That's basically it. There's not a formal timing across the calendar from January to December. This time for this event was tied for us with the regional engagement principle that works for the DIU in Kansas City with the on-ramp hub. He is bringing all of the DIU speakers that he's bringing are coming on his behalf on Thursday of this event. So we decided to wrap ourselves around him because your DIU area of focus and your DIU line of effort are coded and have you selected, and hopefully we're confirming through your tech coach or with Bill, the subject matter expert, Rick, that you are accurate in that information because DIU has the greatest amount of funding to be able to fast track using those words and hopefully effectively maneuver innovation through the individuals that are a part of that quickly to the final customer. So it's two different people. You've got shoppers who are looking for it, and they really don't have the tools to give you for you to fast track. And you've got fast track people and tools they've innovated or they've invented for you to fast track. So we have to merge those two, in my opinion, in order to try to get you where you need to go. This is all part of an innovating program. I've said it multiple times. This is either chaotic or dynamic. If it's chaotic for you, and I don't mean you individually, but for anyone here, if it's chaotic and you can't handle it, I understand, step out. If it's dynamic, And that's really the same thing, right? I'm speaking to your attitude and how you can handle it. If you see it as dynamic, then every step you take, and I used this example Tuesday, is much like a walking in the dark with either a lantern or a flashlight. You can only see so far ahead. Does that stop you from walking all the way to where you're going? My wife fell in Rocky Mountain National Park. The Rangers came. We left about 11 o'clock on top of the mountain, going down in pitch black. They had little bitty lights on their helmets, and we're walking through the terrain like crazy, and the forest, trying to go down that mountainside. And they were walking rather fast because they had to get down the mountain. We were going to take too long. But they could only see so far. Well, that's pretty much what we're trying to do, is give you as much as we can of a glow as far out as we can to tell you and prepare you the best we can. The rest is your next step. All right. With that in mind, I see Bill at the top of my screen. I'm gonna see if he has something to say with what we're talking about.
Yeah, a couple things. Just one quick comment first, and then I'll go into that. I don't know. I had to step out a couple times. I got a couple calls, but when he was talking about the post-conference, there's a post-conference that's in Hawaii that's this next week. So that's a conference. But what he's saying, talking about post our conference, post EI, what you should be working on after Encountering Innovation. So there's two different things, terminology. What I was going to say is, we're talking about a contract event. I don't want you to, think, hey, we're just going to have people run up and write you a check. It's not that kind of a thing. But the Tech Scouts, there's a little bit of exception, but they do not have check writing ability. So they can't buy what you have. No matter how bad they want it, they can't buy it because they don't have that authority. They're in the process of searching out. But they are trying to point to people that do have the ability to potentially help you, pull you into the system and can buy it. So that's why they want the technology to be later stage TRL. So if they say, hey, let me put you in touch with so-and-so and you can demonstrate this technology to them, you have something to demonstrate that can pull you over. If all they're saying is, hey, there's this technology that's a TRL 3 or 4 that you might want to keep your eye on, well, it doesn't do them any good for years to come, and it's not going to get their contacts it's not going to excite their contacts very much because it's not solving an immediate need for years. So that's why the later TRL stage. And so it's easier for them to refer, and then the conference is smaller this year so that they have more time to spend on different ones at the conference and refer them, and not spend time with people that they really can't help that much, not because they don't like the technology, but because it's not far enough along. So that's something to keep in mind. And then one of the things that's unique about this conference is, and we saw this when Alan talked about us going to Huntsville, they had 15-minute pitch sessions, roll to the next person, just clicking past. And what happened was there was zero coaching. I can't tell you how many of those people talked for 15 minutes. The only thing that they did, they had a timer that when the timer went off, it flashed like a bomb went off, and your time was up and the next person started to present. So there were quite a few people that presented their technology and never got any feedback at all because they didn't leave time for it. And, after once you've listened to 6 or 7 of those and then have a 10-minute, break, you can't get to the people you really wanted to. So that's unique with us, that we're preparing you to really have a good dialogue. But then what I think really makes us stand out among these types of events, I've been to Tech Connect, I've been to other events with my own company in technologies, and one of the things that you find is it's kind of a one and done. Hey, show up, pay your fee. Hope you got something out of it. Good riddance, there's no follow-up. And what we're trying to offer here, and we're trying with as much as we can. One of the reasons we work through the SBDC is because the SBDC is chartered to help small businesses. So you have an ongoing semi-local presence that can help you with all kinds of aspects, not just the technical stuff. We're just trying to kick doors open technically, but if you need help getting a loan, you need help, thinking through your business or other marketing strategies and all kinds of different things, they can help in a lot of different areas. And then one of the things that we try and do is we become kind of a clearinghouse where your technology has a place to make you look bigger. So we've had tech scouts call us and say, hey, do you have anything in this realm? I need something in this realm. And we can reach into our system and find you and pull you out. Whereas, in something like Tech Connect or something, they don't do those kinds of things. So it makes you be part of a network ecosystem of technologies that you can be found. And that's what we're trying to accomplish, and then help you along the way. And even the companies that don't get selected, it's not like, we don't care about you, sorry. We would like to be able to help along with your SBDC as much as we can to see if you're at a TRL4, what if you actually made it to a 6 in the next year? Okay, let's put you in. So that's what we're trying to do here in our efforts in encountering innovation in a nutshell.
I think with what Bill's saying, I'll give you some specific examples where the Tech Scouts help you in the fast track. Once you've met them and they see the capability gap being filled by your innovation along with 2 or 3 others. Brett told us the largest one that he had worked with within our realm was packaging 17 innovations together to fill one capability gap. And so you may become part of that. And some of the ways we see that is with one example, the company did not, as far as we know, never got any DoD contract, but they became part of the National Security Council. They ended up going to the Pentagon on a regular basis. They became part of the discussion process of how to safeguard the country, and their product became created more and more sales because of their own subject matter expertise. So part of that is up to you to create that. But the other part is whenever they refer you, or you are able to get a memorandum of understanding, a letter of support, that they are so believing in your capability gap solution that they contact someone in the Air Force, Army, etc., and they get someone to write a letter specifically from the customer on your behalf to get you a letter of support, in some cases for an SBIR or something else. The challenge is things are continuing to be innovated within this entire program. OTAs, PIAs, they don't even call them PIA, they call them a PIA. But these things continue to be innovated along the path. We're hearing things and we're preparing right now. We're just not ready we don't want to confuse you with more opportunities that may or may not happen. It's kind of like Bill talking about the lower TRL. We're working on lower TRL innovation opportunities with people we know. If we can solidify them, and I do believe we're going to do one of them, as soon as the conference is over, we're going to jump as hard as we can on that. And if we can, we're going to come back and we've got specific technologies that opportunity will have. If it takes place, we're going to come back to all of our innovations probably for the last 3 years and say, do you fit one of these 6 technology categories or capability gaps? If you do, you should apply. And it's not about trying to get your money. We don't even have a money fee attached to it. And as far as I know, there's no cost to getting involved if we do that. but we will take that opportunity and pass it on to our group of innovators. That's what Bill's talking about, is we're continuing to do that. There's not a specific fast track. It's more of an opportunity with people that are watching and trying to fill capability gaps. That's where you become a part of the solution, as well as you engage. If anything, what we've really told you, your question really answers why the capability matrix and our matchmaking is so important. I've said it repeatedly. What Rick brought to us has become the highest scored immediate result after the conference. More people talk to us about the people they've met from the matchmaking. You can matchmake virtually, you can matchmake in person. That's your choice. Some of you will come to the conference and matchmake in person, and you'll still have more matches that have come up that will end up being virtual from someone else. So the more you can meet and network in person, probably the stronger it is, but virtual works very well, as we've seen in the past. So that's probably one of the things I would say is one of your most important activities at the conference, is to make sure you're involved in the capability matrix and that you're selecting companies, businesses to meet with, because that matchmaking creates opportunities much more than we could even name, because we don't even know them all. Okay, Vicky, do we have other questions or?
I don't think so. Nope.
All right, I think we're close to the hour. Hopefully that's given you the activities. Like we said, there is a specific set of a process that we do know. The scribe notes will happen. You'll get those. Our tech scouts will afterwards, within a week or two, and sometimes a month, will come back to us. Transcom will be there, and he will select specific technologies and ask for their QIP B, a quad chart Q, information paper I, pitch deck P /B, bluff. So we will package, actually we do it now where we don't put it in the email. We will give them an email that it's been loaded, but we'll put it in a virtual, in a OneDrive folder for them to work. Because what happened was every one of our tech scouts that attended the conference, their email would lock out. They'd fill up with too much data. So we've gotten around that the last couple of years, where we pass the information telling them it's there. They take that QIP B and they move it on to specific people. And then at some point, you may or may not be given the Tech Scouts contact information. We haven't even really mentioned that. There's not been too many people asking for it, or else they knew. We don't pass out any Tech Scouts information. That's up to them to reveal that information when they want to, because they get a huge number of emails daily, which is why sometimes we try not to email them very often, because we know when we do, we're in a stream of emails. But they will reveal themselves when they've, as I've called before, when they've adopted you, when they're trying to make sure your innovation fills the gap so well that they're trying to keep track of you all along the way as they're trying to refer you to someone. A lot of times their referral will be up to you to go follow up on that referral. Few of you, they will follow very closely because it's such a good gap completion.
I have a couple final questions, if you don't mind.
Sure.
What is the standard TRL number for innovators coming through this track?
For us, they've asked us for TRL 7 to 9. We have 3 or 4, I think about 3 or 4 that are TRL 6, that their 6 is close enough to the 7 based on what we're reading and understanding, that we're referring them on in the video for the Tech Scouts to come back and tell us what they think, could give us a priority score. We've had some that they put a 0 on the DoD relevance. They're saying it's not relevant to us as a combatant command. It's an important thing and we appreciate it, but we do not have anything to do with moving that along. They want the late TRL, as Bill said, because they want it as close as they can to filling the gap within their realm of possibility, which is basically 12 months to 24 months.
And
Now,
this is Rick. One thing I wanted to clarify on that. The one thing they've said, because they throw the TRL in, and the TRL can be a little wishy-washy number-wise, depending on how you want to think about it. But the bottom line is, they said, if we hear someone, we have to know that if we contact a command, that command can call you and you're going to be demonstrating it the next week. That's the litmus test. Can they show it to them the next week? Because if you look at it, what these commands are doing is they're not thinking about what would be nice in 3 years or 4 years. They need something, the project managers need something right now. Now, when you go from 6 to 9, and especially on the 6, you may have a working prototype, and that may be in the 6 range, but you're not selling it yet. You're not manufacturing it yet. So the idea that, yeah, if you're a little higher, you're going to have manufacturing capability. That's one side of it, and that's even better for them because they can just purchase the thing. But if they're sitting there a little on the lower side, you have a working prototype. They can see operate it. You can demonstrate it. That's what they're looking for.
understood. Thank you. Final question. So on my capability statement, there's the requirement for the NAICS codes and maybe some registrations like woman-owned business, for example. I have these things for my company currently, but we're reforming as a Delaware C Corp, like doing the paperwork with Cooley LLP like this week. So I have to go back and redo a lot of this for my new corporation. Do you have any recommendations for me?
So that's basically whatever you have is what we put on the capability matrix. If you need us to change as we pass this out next week, all you need to do is look at the information you've had, and if where you want to change it, we'll be glad to do that. Basically, and it becomes a good question and a good point about the capability matrix. We'll pass it out, and everything that's on there will be colored the way it is for being presented to you. If information changes on the capability matrix, we'll highlight it. So if we get a new company that joins because they want to do matchmaking, we will highlight the entire row because they're new to the capability matrix. If you change your NAICS code and other information, we'll highlight that, and because we'll send out the capability matrix on a weekly basis for the last 2 weeks, trying to get as many people to notice each other and set up for matchmaking.
So I guess the one instance that stands out to me is that I'm not a registered woman-owned small business, but I will be once I finish my reformation. Should I leave that part off for now?
I think I would state that you're not, but that you're working on it. You can say that. I mean, if you're working on something, there's nothing wrong with that. This is not a automated program where people are just typing things in and it's going to spit them out. People are going to have eyes on the capability matrix. They're going to read in the cells. They're going to be looking for certain information. So if you want to state it that way, that's more than fine.
Okay, thanks for answering all of my questions. I really appreciate it.
Right.
One other thing, as far as after the conference, as we talked about the scribe notes and the feedback that you'll get from the tech scouts that will be noted there. It's going to be really important that once you have completed your pitch and reviewed the notes, that you go back and update all of your documents check your scribe notes, see if there's anything else, anything there that you need to update on your documents based on that feedback. And then get those final documents, post-conference documents. I'll have a folder in your OneDrive for post-conference for those to be completed and placed in, because that's what I will use to send to the Tech Scouts if they request that Kit B. And the sooner you can have that done, then the sooner we can get it to the Tech Scouts when they request it.
Understood. And then how do we actually receive the initial feedback from the Tech Scouts? Are they emailing that to us, or are they giving that to our tech coach, or does it come through you?
It, you'll see once they complete their pitch, in the pitch room, they'll be able to see their scribe notes right away when they go into the red room.
Mhm.
I will also be placing those scribe notes in, each of the clients' OneDrive folders, so they will see that information. You'll be able to access those there, and I'll send you an email letting you know that I have done that.
And is that for the initial YouTube Shorts feedback as well?
I will be getting you the feedback on the YouTube Shorts as soon as we have it from the Tech Scouts.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
All right, we had a lot of good questions. Anyone else? Well, I will say this like kind of like a parent to their or maybe a teacher to their class. I wish you well in what you're in your endeavors, what you're doing. We're working very hard to provide the best for this conference, but as Bill has stated it, we are still working on beyond the conference, just like we're asking you to be thinking beyond the conference, because what we do is not a conference program. We use a conference in time to gain the eyes of the Tech Scouts and to get you to pause long enough to put information down where we can have that encounter, hence the name Encountering Innovation. That's what we're doing. But we're working continually for you and on your behalf ongoing, because we're not sure who needs what as we go forward, ever trying to provide that information to whoever needs it. So, I mean, like I said, we've got this, I think we're going to have an opportunity. We'll go back several years and invite everyone to see who wants to try to participate. We're working on that. So that's something new that we're doing. So we wish you well. Vicki, does anyone need to stay after class?
If Rick and Bill could, yes.
Okay.
Bill
All
may
right.
have. Thanks, everyone. I think
Bye.
Good
Bill
to see everyone.
stepped away.
I think Rick's going to stay.
I'm here.
Good. Yeah, it's good to see you with those good looking glasses.
Can I ask a quick question, Alan?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
When will we know about pitching?
Yours, I think, is in the group. We don't have any feedback on hers yet, do we?
Not completely. She's in the group that we're still waiting on.
Yes.
So hopefully by first of next
Yeah.
week.
Jessica,
Okay.
we overwhelmed them right at the time that they're always extremely busy, but then
Sure.
some of them, like this post conference, becomes crazy. So
Yeah.
two of them are basically have disappeared on us. They both have told us we'll get to it after Saturday or Saturday and later. So we're
Sure.
hoping we'll get all of them completed by Monday. Two of them have already given information for about 7 or 8. And so I'm hoping we can get Bill and Rick to read through that. I agonized over what they wrote and went back to the YouTube short